Assalamu alaikum guys. Today's video is a little bit different from what I usually post. This video is a little bit more of a serious topic, and the reason for this is because when this video was sent to me, I found it quite disturbing, and it's been bugging me. It's been on my mind since I saw it, and I kind of had to just address the things that were said. And the reason for this is because when the massacre, the shooting in Christchurch last year happened in New Zealand, we had a lot of discussions come out of this around how we can address racism and I guess come out and how we can avoid this happening again. The thing is, after seeing this video and the jokes and the people laughing, although we've already normalized what's happened, and the thing is, the shooter was an Australian national and the comedian, once again over the ditch, is from Australia, so I feel like I just have to touch on this one. I know a lot of people are saying not to kind of, I guess, give him that platform, give him that thing, but it's something that if you don't address, it's just going to keep occurring, and you have to address it and just make it common knowledge so that we can actually put a stop to this. The video I'm talking about, I'm about to show it, so for anyone in New Zealand, discretion is advised. For anyone who was directly or indirectly impacted by the shooting in the two masjids in Christchurch last year.
This Australian extremist stormed this building, this mosque, this room, where people were saying their prayers and going about their business. And for me, the saddest thing about that, it wasn't the 52 people who were killed. It wasn't the countless others who had their lives changed forever because their family members were taken from them. It was the hundreds of people that night who couldn't make it home from nightclubs in Christchurch because all the cabbies were dead.
So you guys, that's the video. This video was actually from last year, but it's only just surfaced online now. But the thing is, you can see that the audience, there's hesitation from certain sides, and then there's others who are laughing as well, which frankly I find quite disturbing as well, that the audience also hyped him up by laughing and clapping, and then also yeah, honestly I just found that very disturbing. So let's break down what he actually said. It wasn't said that the 52 people were killed. It wasn't said that the countless people weren't having their loved ones come home to them that night. It was said that the people who were going to the clubs wouldn't have cab drivers to take them home that night. Like, this is honestly highly offensive. Like, you don't even know how to respond to this. Like, this is obviously from someone who doesn't actually know what Christchurch city is even like. The atmosphere in that city that night, you had hundreds of people, if not thousands, coming to pay their respects, to pay their respect to the families and the families were waiting in the hospital up until Saturday night, not knowing what was going on, whether they had lost their loved ones or their loved ones were injured. The community came out in hundreds, if not thousands, trying to support their family and friends. And you have the audacity to make jokes like this. The people of the city open up their churches, their temples, their homes to family and friends coming from other cities to pay their respects. And you're talking about cab drivers and clubs, and honestly, that's the thing. You don't understand what actually happened. The whole city was in utter shock that this had even happened in New Zealand in the first place, and you're making jokes. All the mosques in the whole country were shut down. There was armed police at every single mosque, and that security that we once felt was lost. And then on top of this, when people started messaging you showing that they were actually offended by this and that you had actually said something that was wrong, instead of doing a public apology, what did you do? You tried to justify it by going, oh, don't worry, I also made jokes about 9/11, and in that same segment I made jokes about the Holocaust. How does that justify you making jokes about this community and the things they went through by offending another community? Making jokes about the Holocaust, making jokes about 9/11, making jokes about any of those things that impacted people is disgusting. It's disturbing. You normalize all these other things, and by doing that you're trying to justify why you're making jokes about a massacre that happened just over a year ago in a place of worship, in a place that's usually a place of peace. Let me switch this for you. So let's say something happened to you, to one of your loved ones. God forbid, even though you don't believe in God, God forbid this happens to you. And I, as a Muslim, come up on stage and go, let's say this is only 8 months after it's happened. And I, as a Muslim, come up on stage and go, you know, it's not sad that this person was killed, and it's not sad that his daughter was also killed. The sad thing is so-and-so, and I make a joke. Now, how would you react to this? Would you not be sad? You're saying that you were also offended by these jokes, and that's why you said them. That doesn't make sense. What's the logic behind being offended by something when you're the one that's offending people? If you're offended by it, don't say it. Like, I don't understand that logic behind it. I'm offended by it, that's why I said it. It's just, honestly, it's illogical. It doesn't make sense. You didn't think about the impact this had on the families of the loved ones, the ones who still, till this day, they are still struggling to comprehend the events of that day. People who have been traumatized by this, whether it was people in the mosque that were injured or people who just witnessed it, the ambulance drivers, the police officers, the ones who, even my own group of friends who actually washed the bodies, they don't even speak about it. Like, people are traumatized by this till this day, and you're already trying to normalize it by making jokes. A public apology is needed, not just a justification, an actual apology to the families and the ones you've offended. You first talk about jokes in your justification video, and then you talk about, if someone shows me respect, I'll show them respect. Did you show respect to the ones that lost their loved ones? Did you give respect to those that were killed? The 2-year-old boy was shot in the mosque. The sister who was begging for her life outside the mosque, who was shot. And you're talking about respect. You didn't show these individuals respect. And outside of this, you trying to dehumanize cab drivers. These are people who support their loved ones, and they're working in these roles to support their families, and you're trying to dehumanize them by making these jokes. But at the same time, the 52 shuhada were from all walks of life, different nationalities, different backgrounds, all ages, and you're making jokes trying to normalize it. Your comments were uncalled for, and you talk about it was just a joke and people shouldn't be offended by it. But you said yourself that you were offended by it. And if they're just jokes, why can't you joke about something else and not at the expense of others? See, this only happened last year. The wound is still fresh. The families that lost their loved ones, that lost their partners, their parents, their sons and their daughters, still are trying to comprehend how this happened. There's a void in their life that won't be filled again. And you're already making jokes about this. I want you to actually look at it from their point of view. I'm not a fan of hate mail, but those messages you're getting will be filled with a variety of emotions. And with a population of 1.8 billion Muslims across the globe, you're going to get a variety of mixed responses, whether they are people lashing out at you because they feel like that's the way that they can show you how they feel, and the others who are asking you for a public apology. My emotions say that you deserve all the cancel culture that you receive, but my religion teaches to forgive you as your fellow human being, and I feel that you really need to give a public apology to those that were impacted by this. That's the least you can do. Anyways guys, that's my thoughts on this whole situation. As you know, this channel is usually used to showcase the beauty of our religion and convey positive messages. But the thing is, as a Muslim living in New Zealand, I felt I had to respond to this, and also as someone who went down to Christchurch when it happened, and felt what was going on. I could never speak on behalf of the families, but we met with a lot of the families, we met with a lot of the individuals, and I just felt I had to respond to this. And a lot of the mates also mentioned it too, so those are my thoughts. Feel free to comment below what your thoughts are on this whole situation. Till next time guys, Assalamu alaikum.